Now we move on to the AI revolution. So this session dives deep into the world of artificial intelligence and its transformative impact across industries. Moderating this panel is Mitko Andonov, member of our Ambassadors Club. Mitko, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Before we dive deeper into our next discussion, I would like to take a moment of your time, if you can share your vote and see where are we at this AI journey. If you can open your Slido, and then I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but yeah, we'll need to. And also during the session, feel free to send us some more questions. We'd be happy to answer. Right. Exactly. AI is here to stay. It's not some futuristic idea that will come. It's here daily, and it's helping our lives, and it's here to stay. So we need to get on this journey as soon as we can and try to leapfrog and catch up with the rest of the world. This is our opportunity as Macedonia, as nation, and the region also. Today we'll discuss about the AI and the industry. And my name is Mitko Andonov, and with my background in as an expert in digital transformation, I'm helping businesses get digitalized. I'm excited about finding out opportunities, how we can figure out and have technology and AI help us grow more and achieve more and get better. But today is not going to be about me, but we have our distinguished guests here. So without further ado, let me introduce our guests. Dr. Miriam Stankovich. Dr. Miriam is an AI governance expert at the International Telecommunication Union, a specialized agency at the United Nations. She works with government and international stakeholders, such as the Asian Development Bank, the European Commission, to develop responsible, inclusive, and forward-looking frameworks for AI policy and regulation. Mr. Dalibor Bobic. Mr. Bobic is a graduate engineer in electrical engineering and computer science. As CEO of EXOR ETI, he delivers extensive and cutting-edge software and hardware solutions that empower industrial automation across various industries. And Mr. Miloseski, he's an entrepreneur who is focused on transforming traditional businesses through technology. He's the founder and CEO of Luxcraft Cabinets in New Jersey, USA, since 2010, and associated with ventures like Cabinet Deals and KBBSuite, which aim to revolutionize the kitchen and bath industry. So, as I introduced, AI is this new grand field that is going to be, it is probably major than the industrial revolution, going from 4.0 to 5.0, where people, us humans, will have to work alongside machines, smart machines, intelligent machines that will help us. I would like to hear, how is AI helping your industry, or how is it involved? What changes do you see in what you do in your business, let's say, or in your software that you do? How is it changing? What are the needs to shift in order to get to better success? Mr. Miloseski.
Okay, so I'll start with that. So thank you, Macedonia 2025, for having us here. Thank you for the invitation. So interestingly, I work in the kitchen and bath industry in the United States, which is as traditional as a traditional business gets. It's a very large industry, but I'm involved in 3 businesses that are related to the industry, but they're 3 completely different businesses. One of them is a brick and mortar retail with a physical showroom. The other one is an e-commerce platform, and the third one is a SaaS solution that helps kitchen and bath businesses manage their sort of like a CRM ERP software. So the challenge with kitchen and bath industry is that it's very traditional, but it also is very chaotic, very complex, and it has a hard time digitizing. So that's why the initial involvement when we started the business in 2010, we set on to create the SaaS platform, which was initially a solution for us. And then we went on to create the e-commerce platform after COVID, because we saw a shifting interest in customers' shopping habits and willing to shop online. So AI adoption when it comes to small businesses and traditional businesses is very slow. But like Mitko said, that AI is already here, is already upon us. And from my perspective, how we use it in our businesses, so for example, for our traditional brick and mortar business, we help it enhance our marketing. So we use it for SEO, SEM optimization, data analysis, reach out, and it's more personalized reach out where so one of our direct channels, for example, is contractors, because contractors are heavily involved in remodeling a kitchen or installing a new kitchen. So attracting these leads and having these leads come through our business, there's a ton of small kitchen and bath retailers, but to get them to come to your business, it has to be more personalized. You have to show them the benefit. So we use tools to be more specific, workflow automation tools like N8N, to do scraping, to do API data research, and then to also do personalized reach outs to contractors and eventually customers. And I can go deep into the specifics of how we do that integration. On the e-commerce and the SaaS side, we have a team of developers actually in Macedonia here. And one of the challenges in developing the 2 pieces of software, so e-commerce is traditional e-commerce is a little bit simpler than kitchen and bath e-commerce, so we decided to create our own solution. And one of the challenges as developers, or hiring the right developers, was to help them first understand the complexities of the business, and then have them understand what they're building and then actually build it. But what's interesting now with AI is that development time of the actual coding is cut almost astronomically. So you can have a developer with the use of AI develop something in 5 minutes that would have taken them 1 or 2 days to develop that. So for us personally, we use it in our marketing campaigns, or SEO and SEM, and as well as our development. But there's also a huge potential to involve AI in the design aspect of kitchen and cabinets, and which is something that we're exploring and exploring a future venture where we actually have an AI designer that will actually design and help kitchens. So I'll delve deeper into this as we go into the discussion. So,
Dalibor, what about your experience?
Yeah, first of all, thank you also for inviting me here and to share my story. This is actually my job for a long time now, bringing new technologies to the market. So I'm locally present for a long time, and one of the most important things that we bring to our market are software solutions from world-leading tech companies, providing the end customer with the high-tech automation in the production or high-tech engineering in electrical design. What I can say regarding the AI, it's a natural continuation of the development of those solutions that we bring to our market. So with my experience, we are still in a phase of getting to Industry 4.0. So we are actually preparing for implementation of AI. What we need is data. Data is pretty hard to collect sometimes, but with right tools, it can be collected and analyzed in the right way. What I can bring as an example from last just a few months, two of the companies that we represent in our markets implemented AI solutions. One of those is Austrian solution from company Data. It's a Xenon software platform for industrial automation. We are covering all industry sectors, infrastructure and everything in between. Energy also with renewables. What they were thinking is how to implement AI in the easiest possible way. Where we have data from the software perspective, we have a huge help database, and we have a huge community commenting, posting questions and answers in a blog, in a section in a website. So they used that database to implement AI for making engineers' life easier. So when they making a project for the end customer, they can ask AI in any language, with any structure of the question, what they need to do, what they are not sure about, how some technical procedures should be done, and the AI is analyzing all data available in that existing database and providing the answer. The second solution that I wanted to mention is the first electrical CAD software in the world powered by AI. It's a German company, WS-CAD, with the same software name. They implemented Copilot inside the software, making it more easier, first of all, to check when engineer draw a scheme or electrical cabinet, check errors, as simple as that. And the AI analyzes everything in behind of that project with existing data that was already built in, and provides the engineer with a solution, with notifications, let's say, with a list of what is wrong in the project and how to correct that point. So from the other side, this is just the beginning and the simple implementation. What I expect further is going deeper, but we will discuss that later on.
Just ask you about that, but let's get to Mimi. As industries increasingly adopt AI, what are the most pressing policy or regulatory discussions happening right now at regional, at European level, maybe, that companies should be aware of?
Thanks, Mitko. So I want to take a step back first and just clarify certain things. I want to start off the conversation with saying that not all AI systems are created equal. So there are differences between AI systems. We have generative AI, we have agentic AI, we have AI with, based on self-learning algorithms or supervised algorithms, and different types of AI come with different types of risks. And this is really important for AI governance. So I work with different governments across the globe. So I have worked with the governments of Ukraine, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, different governments in Africa, such as Tanzania, Seychelles, Kenya, Uganda. And I work specifically on AI governance and data governance issues. And I specialize in working with governments for delivery of public services using AI. So this goes for businesses as well. There are a lot of regulations and governance frameworks across the globe, the most prominent one being the EU AI Act. Macedonia is aspiring to become a member of the European Union. So small and medium-sized businesses and businesses in general should be aware of this regulation and what it means for them, especially if they place their services and products on the EU market. That's the EU AI Act, and it's a risk-based AI governance regulation in terms of there are certain types of AI systems that are considered high risk or are entirely prohibited. For example, social scoring in the European Union and in many other countries using AI is prohibited. Someone mentioned using AI in recruitment and HR. This is considered a high-risk AI application. That is heavily regulated in the European Union, but also in other countries such as the UK, Singapore. Even in the United States, there is misconception saying that AI is deregulated in the United States. It's not. So there are federal agencies that regulate AI, and businesses should comply. For example, the Food and Drug Administration regulates the use of AI in provision of healthcare services and products. Then also the Federal Trade Commission regulates AI, and also we have the US NIST, that's National Institute of Standards and Technology, which has the US AI, the NIST AI Risk Management Framework. Having this in mind, these are the risk-based approaches to AI governance, and if you're a business that is involved in either developing or deploying AI solutions, especially on the EU market, you should do an inventory of your AI systems. For example, if you use generative AI, or if you use AI in recruitment, as mentioned before, you need to comply with strict regulations if you place your products or services on the EU market, or even if your products or services enter the value chain of products and services that are being placed on the EU market. And then we have the rights-based approach to AI governance or regulation that businesses need to be aware of, especially if you're in retail or social media and you use AI algorithms to do customer profiling. This goes back to what Dalibor mentioned, data. So you collect a lot of personal data, and that goes hand in hand with AI governance. So you need to have good data governance frameworks, good data governance practices. And so we have this, in technology governance, we have people, processes, and technology. So you use technology, you have the processes in place to comply for legal compliance, and then people, AI skills. That's really important. So I'm going to stop here.
So I see already questions popping up, and I'm happy about it. And it is aligned with what we're talking about. So I'll just read the question because it's similar to what we're discussing, and I'll jump in with something that I just saw yesterday. So it says, how can we streamline and hurry policy that needs to be in place in order to regulate AI better? And should we really heavily regulate it? But yesterday a video popped up that to me, obviously that I'm interested in AI and searching for information more and more. The American Senate and Mr. Altman, the creator of ChatGPT, was there as a witness, and they asked him, and they say, the chairman said, if we go back to 1995, Europe and the United States were pretty equal on this field, and Europe decided to put regulations, and US went all in, and today we are 50% ahead. That's something that they said. I'm not sure if it's right or wrong, but it really made me think, is it right to go all in and just I know there's going to be a discussion about this a lot. We spoke with Spase about it, so maybe you can start on this, and then Spase will catch on the same topic.
Alrighty. So I agree to disagree. So basically, this is not an issue of dichotomy. So if you regulate an AI applications, certain types of AI applications, in certain sectors that are considered critical infrastructure, such as healthcare, employment, provision of public services, they need to be regulated. And they are regulated even in the United States. They are regulated with the EU AI Act, and they should be regulated because they infringe on human rights. And they, for example, biometric ID, real-time facial recognition by law enforcement, that should be heavily regulated because it endangers our right to privacy. And also AI systems, the challenges for policy and governance is that AI systems, they carry two types of challenges. So the first one was mentioned by the previous panel. So they were discussing data quality. I would say data bias also. Algorithmic bias, that means that the designers of the system might bring in their bias into the system. For example, a system developed in the Silicon Valley by white males should not be applied into in Africa, for example, if the data that goes into the system is based mostly on that type of demographics. So we need to be very careful about these nuances and differences. And then also we do have the black box of certain types of AI systems. So it means that certain types of AI come with, are considered black boxes. Even their designers cannot understand how the AI system produces its output, okay? And this becomes very problematic if that AI system is deployed in healthcare. We know that in healthcare, AI systems might discriminate against women or people of color. So definitely, I think certain types of AI should be regulated.
Right. Okay. Spase, what would you say on this topic?
So it's an interesting question because, the question is, what do we regulate? So I'd like to step back a little bit and think about what AI really is. I mean, most people think that AI is ChatGPT, and it's something you talk to and gives you an answer back. But AI is I can draw parallels to AI to the internet and the introduction of the internet and what it enabled about 20, 30 years ago. I mean, I was a CEO of a print newspaper, and I was involved in the digital transformation of that back in the day. But I see AI just like the internet. I see it as an enabler. It actually enables the creation of tools that will positively impact businesses and positively impact human lives. But just like 30 years ago, we don't know what kind of tools and what kind of technology we're going to build on top of AI. So we have to we have to be very careful when we talk about regulation, and we have to think about, are we also going to play in a level playing field? Is everybody going to play fair? Is China, is the United States, or are other countries going to play in this field? And we have to be careful about over-regulation. So we had this discussion, interestingly, before the panel and I brought the concept of guardrails versus roadblocks. So I believe in guardrails and guiding companies and innovators and entrepreneurs to build safe, secure, and fair AI systems, but we also have to be careful about putting roadblocks that's going to stifle innovation. And I know with the United States, there's a little bit more flexibility and it has more of a lax regulation. But especially here in Macedonia, as we're talking about regulation, we have to be careful of how we regulate and what we regulate. So,
interesting. What I didn't mention about the video was they started it with China's goal is to be leader in AI by 2030. So I was amazed to see that, the competitiveness of all the countries in this field. But going to the next question is, what do you identify as the most common pain points or biggest hurdles businesses face when integrated? Do you think it's maybe cost, talent, data, lack of understanding, maybe something else entirely? Dalibor?
Yeah, there are several things, but maybe most important from my perspective in industry is probably the knowledge, the education on the first side. So AI is not just ChatGPT, it's not just Copilot, it's much more, but what's behind that is a little bit more complicated and it needs really education and paying attention on small details. And also, as I mentioned, data. Data we mentioned today so many times. Maybe exactly the same size of the obstacle for company to implement AI is what data should be used for that AI. In industry, it's not internet, it's not available online, it's not a global database, it's much more narrower and the data should be first collected and then analyzed, and then with AI structured, and we then could let AI to make some decisions or proposals that then we can implement as a human being. So education and collection of data are the most important.
Spase?
In on that, it's a very interesting question. So I'm a technologist. So I built my career very hands-on, programming, building software, architecture, you name it. So me as a technologist, I have a hard time keeping up with how fast AI is progressing. But what's also interesting is we have to be very careful about chasing shiny objects with AI. And we don't want to just implement AI for the sake of implementing AI. We have to be very careful. We have to understand our industries, but most of all, we have to understand our customer, because everything begins and ends with the customer. So what is the purpose of when we create the business is to deliver value to the customer. So when you're looking at AI and you're looking at all these tools and all these AI tools that are popping up, you have to think about how does this add value to how I deliver the final value to the customer, and is it worth for my company to implement that? But more importantly, you have to be aware of the AI tools that are out there. You have to educate yourself. And then you also have to think about, in your customer's eyes, is this going to really enhance the value that I bring to my customer? And the other thing, which it's an interesting point, is I'm following all the AI talk on YouTube and video platforms and online. I see a lot of young people that are very interested in AI, that are building very powerful tools as solopreneurs, if you want to call them. So it doesn't take a team of 50 developers to develop these tools. A lot of tools, a lot of these connected tools are now available where, where a single 20-something can build a very powerful tool. So as a company think about your next hire. Who is that going to be? And think about how knowledgeable they are in AI. So bring those people on board, invest in the young people. And, we had the education panel here before, and this is, one of those things that you have to follow the trends, you have to follow what's important. And AI right now is really at the forefront of things. It's going to enable a lot of powerful things. So, we have to think about that.
But if I would look at the SMEs, let's say here in Macedonia, how would you look at that? Like, what would you transfer from what you're doing with digitalization, with AI in your companies, and something we can share so they can prepare? How can they prepare? If you can share something specific that we can look at.
So I could share with our development team, for example. So we've had this deep discussion with our project manager and our engineers, and think about the skill set. And this is very relevant for Macedonia, because we have for a small country, we have a fairly large IT talent, a fairly large IT sector that really works in this market. And one of the challenges, and from being in IT for close to 25 years now, one of the challenges for software development is finding good product managers and finding good project managers that really understand product, that really understand the project. And now, mixed into that pool is the understanding of AI, because if you're just a coder and you're following specific instructions to program something, you're going to become outdated very quickly, because AI is catching up to that. And at this point, it can probably replace a junior, if not a mid-level developer. But if you're a senior level developer, or you're just becoming a developer and learning the technologies, learn how to use AI to build, but don't just use AI to build. There's the concept of vibe coding out there, meaning that with a prompt, you build the whole software, and then things that come out of it is, there are a lot of security vulnerabilities, and the code breaks, and people hack into these systems. So as a developer, if you're just coming into this field, learn AI, but more importantly, understand how to do research or how to question the projects that you're creating, so that you understand the projects that you're creating, and then use AI as an enabler, as a technology to do that. And if you're a business, if you're a small business, again, think about who you're going to hire and think about your preparedness, because these tools are coming fast. I mean, it's the AI revolution is accelerating. I believe it's accelerating a lot faster than the internet was. And look at what the internet, did. It disrupted giants in industries, and I feel like that AI is going to do that. And if you're an SME, and I see it in my kitchen and bath industry, and when we launched KBBSuite, which is the SaaS platform, my biggest competitor was pen and paper. So getting somebody to go from using pen and paper to track orders, to track quotes, to get them onto a full-blown system that fully automates maybe 90% of the tasks that we're doing. And it's kind of scary to think that a lot of, even in the United States, but probably all over the world, that a lot of these business owners, a lot of these people, managers working in small business, are so far behind, and they're going to have a hard time catching up, and they're going to be, become outdated fairly quickly.
Exactly. I was going to ask something similar. So here in Macedonia, working as an expert in digitalization, I meet people every day that many of them still think that this is some new trend that's coming, and Macedonia is really lacking. So we're always 20 years behind. So probably it will take another 10 years for us to jump in on the train. And what would you suggest to a leader in this country? Like, what do you see the cost of inaction? Are we on track? Do you think we can take certain actions and become, join the leaders in the AI, or should we just wait and until ChatGPT 10.0?
So there's an interesting dichotomy happening in this country. I have access to the young talent pool that are developers, and these developers actually seek to work for outside companies like myself for the American market. The talent is here, the ambition is here, but if you're a business operating in Macedonia, look within and ask what these young people want and how you can bring them on board to work for your companies and not for outside companies, and how they can enhance your offering. And maybe even bring, if your product isn't in an external market, maybe even help bring that product or service to an external market and become hyper competitive. Because I honestly really see the talent, I see the ambition in the young people. So we need to invest in them, and we need to believe in them, but at the same time is hire them and recruit them and see what we can make of our businesses with this talent.
Yeah. Thank you. Mimi, again with the policy, I'm wondering how governments should act on this. I'm thinking always how our government is behaving on these topics, and how can they strike the balance between regulating or just letting go? What is your opinion and view on this? Maybe prevent the misuse and then just...
That is a loaded question, but I think that we should just go beyond this dichotomy of regulation versus innovation. Now the accent is, while I'm working with different governments, the accent is on public-private partnerships in terms of creating regulatory sandboxes where regulator in a country works with the private sector. For example, financial technology companies that experiment with deployment of provision and development and deployment of certain AI solutions work together with the financial authority, for example, in Macedonia. So for this, we don't have to invent anything. So there is a methodology which has been developed by the World Bank that the government of Macedonia can follow and just establish a regulatory sandbox in AI. This has been done, for example, in Saudi Arabia and in other countries. In Chile, I have worked with the government of Chile, where academia, government, and the private sector work together on an algorithmic transparency standard and creation of algorithmic registers that publish the algorithms that are used in public service delivery by government agencies. So I think the government here and the Ministry of Digital Transformation and whatever the agency is in charge of small and medium-sized enterprises, they should start seeing themselves as collaborators, facilitators, and innovators. So they should be working together with the private sector and with the academia and with the research institutes. We had the Minister of Education and Science. It so happens that I used to work for the Ministry of Education and Science at the Department of Science, so I was involved heavily in research and innovation and the EU agenda of Macedonia, so I know how things go. But one accomplishment that I would like to, present here of Macedonian origin in terms of research is a large language model, and kudos for that, which is called Vezilka. And Macedonian is a low resource language in natural language processing, so that's a huge development for us, I think.
Nice. Do you think AI can use some, well, it's technology, but yeah, AI also to, that's a question from the audience, I'm jumping in. How can Macedonian government use AI to increase efficiency of their operations? I would not say AI only, but technology altogether. We had the panels, we were talking about how we can be more transparent, and this could be really helpful for...
Yeah, well, it happens so that I specialize in that. So in transparency and accountability in provision of public services. So there are a lot of ways that you can improve. There is a project, which is a program funded by the European Union. It's called Europe Digital or Digital for Europe or something like that. I don't remember the exact title. But I know that the project and the program is working in Moldova, it's working in Ukraine, the countries of the Eastern Partnership, but also in Serbia. And I think it should start working with the government of Macedonia on using AI together with a French AI firm called Mistral to use predictive analytics and AI to sift through legal texts to see whether they have been approximated with the law of the European Union. So that's a huge accomplishment, and it's going to mean a lot of efficiency and effectiveness in the workings of the Macedonian government, especially the Secretariat. I don't know whether it's called the Secretariat for European Integration. Yep. I think that's the name. It's going to be very helpful. If this project is not in the works, I would say that whoever listens from the Macedonian government, they should get in touch with that program, which is funded by the EU, and take advantage of that. But especially for algorithmic transparency and accountability, I would say the best framework, assessment framework in terms of risk-based approach and also fundamental rights-based approach is the one developed by the Dutch Ministry of Interior. And if interested, I can share it with you. Why it's important to take into account this framework, it's because it takes into account the whole AI life cycle. So you measure and assess the AI system from the phase of ideation, design, deployment, monitoring, evaluation, learning, and retirement. So the whole AI life cycle.
Thank you. Dalibor, AI often brings the fears of job replacement. So people are scared AI is going to take our jobs. How do you see the AI transforming the workforce in the traditional industries? What are the new skills in demand, and how can we prepare for future? I think it was on the previous panel, but I would like to hear your thoughts on that too.
Yeah, I heard a nice saying that we will not be replaced by AI, we will be replaced by people who know how to use AI. That's probably the best answer that I can give, because it's a technology, as Spase mentioned, like internet. Do you know someone who is not using internet nowadays and is a successful person, business? Probably not. We should start learning, start implementing step by step, as far as we can, in the limits of our businesses, just follow the trends, learn something new, follow the companies that are implementing the solutions that we are talking about. And it is simple. Once you get in pace of development, you see that it's pretty much simple to integrate even the most modern technologies in your company.
Thank you.
Just to add to that, which is interesting, I mean, in the room itself, how many of you understand prompt engineering and how to create a proper prompt for an AI? So, you know, that's for ChatGPT, even as simple as ChatGPT. Prompt engineering is probably one of the first things you should start to learn and understand, because it is pervasive. So when you get into, you know, I'll get a little bit technical, when you get into the workflow automations and you have two different things. You have an agentic workflow and you have an agent AI. An agentic workflow is basically you create a workflow that integrates different pieces of data, but the agentic workflow is very specific on how to take that data and analyze it, and prompt engineering becomes very important in analyzing data. Now, the flip side of that is an AI agent who becomes an autonomous agent, and you're trusting in the agent to actually do as you would trust one of your employees. Here's a simple question, here you go and do it. But again, it can get off the rails and provide you with probably really bad results with a really bad prompt. So prompt engineering is probably the first step I would take. And then understand the different ways or the different tools that are being created in the market that are being used in your industries, and start thinking about how to use your tools, like, you know, the implementation of Excel. I'm sure there's going to be some version of some sort of AI Excel program that will be pervasive, and a lot of people will be using it. But then they're going to be very specific, like Dalibor software, where it's specifically designed for a niche, for, you know, for electrical engineers who work in manufacturing plants. So just being aware, start learning, and then start from the basics and go from there.
Right. Thank you. Me being here in Macedonia, I'm actively and always seeking for ways to make it out of here, make the best out of here, to succeed. And I'm always thinking, what are the options? What can we use as tools, and how we can be more successful as Macedonians in the world? Yes, there are a lot of disadvantages, but I'm a huge optimist, and I strongly believe that our days will come and Macedonia will have huge success in many fields. At this point, I'm thinking, if I was a person living here, investing here in business, in AI, in technology, in digitalization, what are our skills? What are our options? Since I speak with teams here, and I see that they develop pretty good programs, but somehow it's not made in USA or made in Germany, and I'm into marketing, so you know, I'm trying to think, would it be easier for me to sell it as a Macedonian or an American product, or German or Norwegian or something similar? So Macedonia can use AI to its advantage, acknowledging the potential downsides. What is one key opportunity AI presents for Macedonia development?
So I'll take on that answer. It's an interesting question. So, you know, coming as a Macedonian born here and leaving here as a child, I grew up in the United States and constantly coming back to Macedonia, growing up in both cultures. One of the challenges that almost everybody, but I think especially here in Macedonia, is adopting a different perspective. So when you're building a tool or software or a service for an external market, make sure you understand the culture. One of the hardest challenges I have in my industry is when I tell them about kitchen cabinets. They're like, oh, that's okay, somebody will come out and measure and build this. And in the United States, the kitchen and bath industry is a $122 billion industry with just 22 billion cabinets in the cabinets alone. So it's a huge industry, but it's very nuanced, and it's very customer-focused and customer-driven. People want their different options. People want wood. They don't want the shiny flat cabinets. You know, it's those nuances that you have to understand, and understanding how business operates if you're creating tools for business for Macedonia. So you kind of have to step outside of yourself, and I keep on saying this, but I truly believe it is look at it through your eyes of your customer. And if you're building something for an external market and you're trying to do marketing for a US-based business that's looking for customers in the US, understand what they're doing. And that should be the first thing when you onboard a customer, is talk to them. Make sure you understand their customer, because your software, your services are going to help find and onboard their customers. So I think that's very important. And now with AI and with, I think of AI as your PhD assistant, right? It's becoming smarter by the day, and it understands a lot of things. And sometimes if you need to understand a culture, start with AI and make sure, you know, you ask it the right questions, that have a good feel for whatever market you're trying to get, and AI can enable it. It can enable you to understand it, but then nothing replaces talking to your customer and make sure you understand what their customers are trying to do. So if you're a B2B services or a B2B business.
Okay, thank you. I have another question from the audience. I don't know if anyone's going to want to answer this one. Is AI the end of freedom as we know it? I saw some funny videos where, you know, we're just happy and just laying around, just, you know, be happy all day and doing nothing, and then the machines are running everything. Do you see that happening? What's your opinion on that? I'm guessing that's the question. Is this the end of freedom?
No, it's not. If we stay aware of the challenges and risks that come with AI and AI deployment, and I say education, educate, and raise awareness among different demographic groups, children, elderly, civil servants, small and medium-sized enterprises. So they learn about what the challenges are, and we are, as citizens, are informed that, you know, sometimes governments can use AI, real-time facial recognition technology, biometric identification to encroach on our rights. So law enforcement, judiciary, if we, you know, we are aware of this, and you know, if you are a small and medium-sized business owner or entrepreneur and you are deploying or developing an AI tool, you follow certain, you establish AI governance frameworks, you manage your data responsibly, you do not take advantage of the personal data that you harvest from your clients when they browse the internet, and you're aware of this. So responsible innovation is the crux of you know, AI not taking away our freedoms and rights. But first and foremost, citizens who are aware and knowledgeable about their rights and how they can fight for their rights and freedoms.
And Mimi, while at it, could you tell us your opinion on what is the role of public-private partnerships in accelerating beneficial AI adoption?
Well, I already spoke about this. So regulatory sandboxes, public-private partnerships, there are a lot of examples out there. One example that comes to mind is this regulatory sandbox, which is funded by Meta, or previously called Facebook. It's called Open Loop. And they work with governments to pilot certain regulatory sandboxes, regulatory solutions, where small and medium-sized enterprises join this regulatory sandbox and work together with government authorities. For example, right now, this is being tested in the US using the US NIST AI management framework, which is a voluntary tool. And then if there are representatives of the Macedonian government here, other interesting examples, non-mandatory public-private partnership, a great example would be the government of Singapore. The government of Saudi Arabia, I've been involved in this. They also have not just data governance sandbox, but also AI sandbox, AI regulation sandbox. So working together with businesses, understanding, what they need, but also listening to the civil society and representatives of marginalized groups, that's very important too. So having this inclusive AI governance is really important so that, again, we come back to the rights and freedoms and how we protect our rights and freedoms. Having responsible, innovative, collaborative governments and governments and civil servants who understand what AI is. And another good international partner in this regard would be UNESCO. UNESCO and the International Telecom Union, I happen to work both with UNESCO and the ITU. We developed together AI governance courses, blended, so we offer project-based learning and also experiential type of learning, working together with civil servants. That's very important, educating our government and civil servants to be, not to have this siloed mindset, but to work together with the private sector and with citizens to be responsive. What I would like to see as a citizen of Macedonia is our government offering digital services that are supported by AI responsibly.
Thank you.
Can I add to that a little bit?
Yeah.
So, one of the challenges, and I'll bring this as a challenge for any government, not just the Macedonia government. So me as an entrepreneur, when I'm building software, the government is the last place I look for investments or for any kind of support. And to me, and maybe it's a misconception, it's the bureaucracy I have to deal with. So government is played by bureaucracy. So the question for the government, or the thought-provoking question for the government, is why is that? What can we do so that we give entrepreneurs the freedom to be successful? And honestly, I can't really think of any, maybe it is out there, I can't think of any government sponsored startup that really became a huge company. So maybe there's a reason for that. But looking at it from my perspective, why am I not trusting of the government to help me? Maybe it's different in Macedonia, but in the United States, and it's also a fault of the U.S. government as well, because I think of all the chains and roadblocks that would be put in front of me in order to make something of together as a partnership with the government.
Right. I'll try to do more questions from the audience. There's a lot of them. I'll try to stick with the industry part, what we're talking about. Daniel's asking, what can you tell us about effective process for investigating the viability of developing a custom business solution? Any consideration with AI? Kind of difficult. The way I'm thinking about it, the way I see it, since I'm involved both in the digital world and also running a factory with my brother. So what I see in the future of in the industry is having all the cameras set up in the whole factory and then using AI to generate for us what would be the best placement for all the machines in order to get the biggest output, the safest way, use maximum of the sun, how to use all the panels and everything, and just forecasting how to optimize the production. There is a lot into it that I see. I believe in that. I think it will come. Other than that, at this point, probably we're using the forecasting with stocks and maybe sales, or just trying to predict the future. But it's kind of difficult to answer exactly. If anyone can jump in, great. If not, I have one more question before we wrap up. Actually, I would just, there's so many questions, I didn't get to ask you all of them, so I'll just leave you a minute if you can share, if you have some ending about our discussion. Dalibor, we spoke at the beginning about a few more details, but if anyone of you wants to share something that we didn't get to talk about, please do so. If not, I'll just wrap up with my conclusions.
Yeah, maybe just to mention, you said about the production and the
Yes.
information from the production. It's the machines are already talking to us, but we sometimes don't understand them.
Yeah.
We don't speak their language, so my mission is to translate that,
Nice.
to bring to the market the translation from the machine to someone who is in charge of the production. So I have more than 500 customers in the region, believe it or not. So engineering companies and end customer production sites, energy, infrastructure, solar panels. Solar panels are also talking to us.
Yeah.
We are getting a lot of information just with a simple application on the phone. How much it is produced, how stable it is there an alarm? But there are a lot of more information available through the software like we are presenting to the market. So 4 times more information you can collect just implementing the right solution to the system. Just quickly to wrap up from my side, think about AI as a toolbox. You can just sit on it, rest, and pretend that it's there. I will just relax a little bit. But you can open it. You can explore different tools in it. You can share those tools with your engineers, with your people. Learn how to use it. Learn how to improve the production with the tool that is available. This is just probably the biggest challenge for me, to explain how these tools are used. It's not the system itself, it's just learning how to use it and improve drastically.
Thank you.
The production.
Thank you, Dalibor. As we wrap up, I would like to conclude. AI is here to stay. It's transformative. It's not just small changes. It's going to be a rapid change. We better get on the train as soon as possible. It's a huge opportunity for all of us, especially for Macedonia, because it's a huge opportunity for us. And the message is one of both. It's urgency and immense opportunity. So without further ado, thank you for being our guests. It was a pleasure talking to you, and see you next time.
Thank you.